Most people who pray for their family are saying the right prayers, but missing the 5 most important words. I was 15 years old when I discovered them. I had leukemia. I was dying. And instead of using those words to pray for myself, I used them for the people I loved most. What happened after that changed my family forever. These 5 words will change yours too. Stay with me. Hello, beloved friend. I want you to close your eyes for just a moment before we begin. I want you to feel the weight of the name you carried into this moment. The name of someone in your family who needs prayer right now. A son, a daughter, a husband, a mother, a brother who has drifted away, a father whose heart has grown cold, a child who is sick, a marriage that is fracturing, someone you love so deeply it almost hurts to think about them. You carried that name here. You didn't find this video by accident. You were guided here, and I need you to know. I, Carlo, see you. My name is Carlo Acutis. I was born in London in 1991, and I died in Milan in October of 2006 at 15 years old from leukemia. I was just a boy who loved Jesus, loved computers, loved soccer, loved my dogs and my cats, and who had one single burning conviction from the moment I received my first Holy Communion at the age of 7, that the Eucharist was my highway to heaven, and that no one in this world should ever feel alone before God. I am speaking to you today not from distance, not from silence, but from the place where all prayer arrives, from the presence of the one who loves you beyond every word ever spoken. And I want to tell you something that my short life taught me, something I discovered while still walking the streets of Milan with a backpack and a rosary, something I wish every family on earth could hear. There are 5 words, 5 specific, powerful, intentional words that you must say when you pray for your family. Not magic words, not a formula, but words that align your heart with the will of God so completely that prayer stops being a request you throw at the sky and becomes a conversation with the Father who already knows what your family needs before you even speak. I'm going to give you those 5 words, but first, I need to walk with you through something, because the words only make sense when you understand the heart from which they come. So stay with me. This is going to take a little while, and it will be worth every minute. I want to tell you about the day I realized that my family needed something I could not give them. I was maybe 8 years old. My parents were good people, kind, educated, well-meaning, but faith was not something that filled our home. It was there, in a quiet, distant, inherited kind of way, the way an old painting sits on a wall that no one quite looks at anymore. My mother and father did not go to Mass every Sunday. Prayer was not something we did together at the table. God was acknowledged, but not encountered. And I remember sitting in our apartment in Milan, looking at a crucifix on the wall, and feeling something in my chest that I could not name at 8 years old, but can name now from where I stand. I felt a holy ache. I felt the distance between my family and the love that was waiting for them. I felt it the way a child feels when someone they love is standing just outside a warm room in the cold, and they cannot figure out how to open the door to let them in. Do you know that feeling, beloved? Do you know the ache of watching someone you love live at a distance from God? That ache did not make me angry. It did not make me preachy or self-righteous. It made me go to Mass more. It made me kneel before the tabernacle more. It made me pray the rosary every single day, not just for myself, but for my family, for my mother, for my father, for everyone I loved who had not yet found what I had found in the Eucharist. My mother, Antonia, has spoken about this publicly many times. She says that it was watching me, her own son, that slowly brought her back to faith. She says she saw something in me she could not explain, a peace, a joy, a certainty. Not the false certainty of someone who has figured everything out, but the deep, settled certainty of someone who is simply in love with God and has decided that nothing in this world is more important than that love. She came back to the faith. My father came. The faith of our home changed, not because I preached at my parents', not because I argued or demanded or performed holiness for their approval, but because I prayed for them without stopping, and I let the Eucharist transform me in a way that they could see. This is the first truth I want to give you today, beloved. You cannot drag your family to God. You cannot force open a heart that is closed, but you can become so full of God's love that it overflows from you into every room you walk into, every conversation you have, every silent act of service you offer. You can be the open door. The greatest evangelization is not the words you say, it is the life you live. And so the first of the 5 words I want to give you, the first word you must say when you pray for your family, is this: Lord. Not the word as a title, not the word as a formality, the word as a surrender. When you begin to pray for your family, you must first place yourself before the Lord, fully, completely, without condition. Because here is what I learned. So many people begin praying for their families from a place of anxiety, from a place of control, from a place that says, Lord, here is what needs to happen, please make it happen. And that is not prayer. That is a transaction. That is a shopping list given to a cosmic vending machine. True prayer for your family begins when you bow your heart before the Lord and say, You are God and I am not. You love them more than I ever could. I place them in your hands. The word Lord, spoken from the depths of your heart, is the act of releasing control. It is the act of trusting that the one who created your child, your spouse, your parent, your sibling, holds them more tenderly than you ever could. Before you say anything else in prayer, say that word as if it is the only word you know. Fall into it. Let it carry the weight of your fear, your worry, your grief. Lord, you are here, I am yours, they are yours. And if you feel that this message is already beginning to speak to your heart, I want to invite you right now. Go ahead and hit the like button, and if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel. Because here, week after week, there are prayers and teachings that come straight from the tradition of the Catholic faith, and you deserve to have this kind of encounter with God as often as possible. Now, I want to tell you something that happened to me at 15 that I did not expect to survive. Not because I thought I would live, but because I thought the fear would swallow me whole before the leukemia did. The diagnosis came in October of 2006. Acute promyelocytic leukemia. My doctors were direct. My body was failing fast. I was transferred to the Policlinico di Milano, and within days the situation was critical. Do you know what I felt in those days? I want to be honest with you, because there is no point in pretending that holiness means you feel nothing. I felt grief, not for myself. I had known for a long time, in a quiet way I can't fully explain, that my time on this earth would be short. I felt grief for the people I loved. For my mother, who sat by my bedside and cried in a way I had never seen her cry. For my father. For my friends. For the work I had begun, the website cataloging Eucharistic miracles from around the world that I had not yet finished. But underneath the grief, beloved, there was something else, something solid, something that did not move even when everything else was shaking. There was the Eucharist. I had received Jesus in the Eucharist every single day since I was 7 years old. Every single day for 8 years, I had gone to Mass and received him. And in that hospital bed, in the hours when the pain was the worst, I understood with a clarity I could not have articulated at 15, but understand completely now. He had been preparing me. Every Mass, every tabernacle visit, every rosary prayed on my knees in our apartment, all of it had been building something inside me that the leukemia could not touch. A certainty, a home, a place in God where nothing could shake me. I offered my suffering for the Pope and for the Church. I told my mother, I offer these sufferings to the Lord with joy, not because I was performing bravery, not because I was pretending, but because I had spent 8 years learning how to place everything I had in His hands, and in that moment, all I had left was my suffering, and it seemed like the most natural thing in the world to give it to Him. I died on October 12th, 2006. And here is what I want to say to you now, beloved friend, as you sit wherever you are, holding the name of someone in your family in your heart. Your family's story is not over. Whatever is happening right now, the illness, the separation, the coldness, the addiction, the grief, the distance from God, it is not the last page. God is not finished writing. The second word you must say when you pray for your family is this: mercy. Lord, have mercy. Not because your family deserves it. None of us deserve it. That is what mercy is. Mercy is love that is given not because it is earned, but because it is the nature of God to give it. When you pray for your family and you say mercy, you are not begging an angry God to soften. You are calling on the deepest reality of who God is. You are saying, I know you. I know that at the center of who you are, there is an inexhaustible ocean of tender love for the person I am bringing before you right now. Have mercy. Pour that love out. Lord, have mercy is the oldest prayer of the Church, the Jesus prayer. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner. You can breathe it. You can say it while you are driving to work, while you are washing dishes, while you are lying awake at 3 a.m. worrying about your child. Lord, have mercy on my son. Lord, have mercy on my marriage. Lord, have mercy on my mother who does not know you yet. Mercy is the door. When you pray mercy for your family, you are inviting God to do what only God can do, to go where you cannot go, to reach into the interior of a heart that you cannot touch, and to work in ways that you will not see, that you may never see, but that are happening. I intercede for your family right now. From where I am in the presence of the living God, I am bringing your family before Him. Trust the mercy. There is a story I need to tell you. It happened years after my death, in 2013, in Brazil, in the city of Campo Grande. There was a little boy named Matthias. He had been born with a rare condition, a malformation of the pancreas called annular pancreas, that made it nearly impossible for him to eat. He was almost 4 years old and weighed only 20 pounds. He survived on liquid nutrition. He vomited constantly. His doctors had exhausted every option. He was not expected to live long. His mother, Luciana, had been praying for years, exhausted, desperate, full of a love so fierce and so helpless that it breaks your heart to hear about it. A priest she knew had learned about my life and began organizing masses and prayer services in my honor. He obtained a relic, a piece of my clothing, and invited families to come and pray. On the anniversary of my death, October 12, 2013, Luciana brought little Matthias to one of these masses. When it was his turn to touch the relic, the little boy, who barely had the words for prayer, who was small and sick and so tired, looked at my picture and said simply, "I wish I could stop throwing up so much." That was his prayer. Not a formal novena, not a theological argument, not a carefully composed petition, just a child's heart, raw and honest, placed before God. On the way home, Matthias told his mother, "Mama, I think I'm healed." At home, he asked for rice and beans and steak, the food his brothers ate, the food he had never been able to eat. He ate a full plate. He did not vomit. He ate normally the next day, and the next. His doctors ran tests and found a perfectly normal pancreas where the malformation had been. They had no medical explanation. The church investigated this healing for years. Pope Francis confirmed it as a miracle in February of 2020, and it was this miracle that led to my beatification in October of that year in Assisi. I tell you this story, beloved, not to glorify myself. I am just a boy. I was just a teenage boy who loved Jesus. I tell you this story because I want you to understand something with your whole heart. God hears the prayer of a child. God hears the prayer of a desperate mother. God hears the prayer that cannot even find proper words. The cry, the wish, the simple, honest longing of a human heart that knows it has no power of its own. Your prayer for your family does not need to be perfect. It does not need to be eloquent. It does not need to be said on your knees in a chapel, though that is beautiful. It can be said in a hospital waiting room. It can be said in a car at a red light with tears streaming down your face. It can be said at the kitchen table at midnight. God is not waiting for you to get the words right. He is waiting for you to come. And this brings me to the third word you must say when you pray for your family. Come. Come, Lord Jesus. 2,000 years old, this prayer. At the end of the book of Revelation, the last cry of the church, "Come, Lord Jesus." When you pray this word for your family, you are not inviting God into your family from the outside, as if He were standing at a distance, uninvolved. You are acknowledging His presence and opening every door of your heart to let Him move. You are saying, "Come into my home. Come into this marriage. Come into the mind of my child who is suffering. Come into the heart that has been closed for years. Come, Lord. We cannot do this without you. Come is an act of surrender and an act of courage at the same time. Because when you invite God to come into a situation, you are also accepting that He may come in a way that surprises you. He may come through suffering. He may come through a conversation you didn't expect. He may come through a loss that later reveals itself as a gift. You say come, and you let go of control over how He arrives. Do not be afraid of that. I was 15 when I faced death, and I was not afraid because I had said come to God for years. When He finally came in full, not in the Eucharist, but in the moment my soul left my body, He was not a stranger. He was the most familiar presence I had ever known. Say come for your family. Say it every day. Say it with everything you have. If you haven't already, I want to invite you to share this video with someone in your family who needs it today. You never know. The friend or sibling or parent who sees this video might be standing at the edge of something God is about to do in their life. Be the person who opens that door for them. Share it, and let us know in the comments. Have you ever prayed for a family member and witnessed something you couldn't explain? A healing, a return, a change of heart. Your testimony strengthens the faith of someone else who is still waiting for their miracle. I need to talk to you about the Eucharist now, because everything I am, everything I became in my short life, flows from this one source. And I believe, I know, that if there is one gift I could give every family in the world, it would not be healing, though I pray for healing. It would not be reconciliation, though I pray for reconciliation. It would be hunger for the Eucharist. The Eucharist is my highway to heaven, I used to say. I believed it then. I know it now completely, in a way that goes beyond belief into direct encounter. When you receive Jesus in the Eucharist, you are not receiving a symbol. You are not receiving a memory. You are receiving the living, breathing, actual body and blood of the Son of God, present in you, dwelling in you, transforming you from the inside out. I created a website before I died. I was maybe 13 when I began it, 14 when it was mostly complete, cataloging Eucharistic miracles from around the world, hundreds of them, hosts that had turned to human flesh and blood, hosts that had bled, hosts that glowed with light, cases that had been examined by doctors and scientists who had no natural explanation. I did not create that website to prove a point in an argument. I created it because I was on fire with love for Jesus in the Eucharist, and I could not understand why more people did not feel what I felt every single morning when I received Him at Mass. I could not understand how someone could walk past a Catholic church, knowing that Jesus was present in the tabernacle, and not stop, not go in, not kneel. I said once, all the stadiums in the world could be filled with people, but in front of the tabernacle, it is almost always empty. That broke my heart then. It still breaks my heart now. Beloved, if your family has drifted from the sacraments, if your children have stopped going to Mass, if your spouse has not received communion in years, pray. Pray the rosary for them. Pray the Eucharistic prayer. Ask Our Lady to bring them back. And go yourself every day if you can. Go and receive Jesus and carry Him home with you. Carry Him in the way you speak to your children. Carry Him in the way you forgive your spouse. Carry Him in the way you sit with an aging parent. You are the Eucharist walking through your home when you receive Him, and live accordingly. The fourth word you must say when you pray for your family is, heal. Lord, heal my family. Say this word in its fullness. Not just physical healing, though God does heal bodies. I know this, I have witnessed it from where I am. But also, heal what is broken between us. Heal the wounds that were passed down from generation to generation. Heal the anger that became silence. Heal the silence that became distance. Heal the distance that became a wall so high nobody remembers who built it or why. Family wounds are deep, I know this. Even in families that love each other, there are fractures, old hurts, misunderstood words, moments when someone needed something that nobody knew how to give. And these wounds, if they are not brought before God, can calcify over time into something that feels permanent, as if the damage is just who your family is now. It is not. God is a healer. He healed Matthias's pancreas completely, instantly, against every medical probability. Do you think He cannot heal the relationship between you and your brother? Do you think He cannot restore your prodigal child? Do you think he cannot soften a father's heart that has been hard for 30 years? Bring the wound, name it before God. Lord, heal this specific thing. Kneel your heart before him. You do not even need to physically kneel, though there is something beautiful and humble in that posture, and say the name of the wound. Heal the resentment I carry against my mother. Heal the grief my family has never processed. Heal my son from what he is addicted to. Heal my daughter from the lies she has believed about her worth. God does not heal in a general, vague, someday kind of way. He heals specifically, personally, tenderly. He is the divine physician. He knows exactly where the wound is. Trust him to find it. Say heal. Say it like you mean it. Say it every day until you see the evidence with your own eyes. And even when the evidence has not come yet, say it. Because faith is not sight. Faith is the conviction of things not seen. It is praying heal on Tuesday and not seeing anything by Wednesday, and praying heal again on Thursday and again on Friday for weeks and months and years, because you know that your prayer is never wasted, that every word you speak in faith is accumulating, building, becoming something in the spiritual realm that will eventually break through into the natural. I told my mother from my hospital bed, I offer all of this with joy. I was 15, I was dying, and I meant it, because I had learned, through daily mass, through the rosary, through hours of adoration, that nothing given to God is wasted. Not one prayer, not one tear, not one moment of faithfulness. Your prayers for your family are not wasted, not one of them. Let me tell you about the rosary, because I carried it with me always, not in my pocket exactly, around my neck, in my hands, in my heart. I prayed it every single day. Many people today look at the rosary and see it as something old, something that belongs to grandmothers and dusty chapels. But I was a teenager who loved video games and computers and soccer and dogs, and I prayed the rosary every day because I understood something that I want to give to you now. The rosary is not just a prayer, it is a weapon, not a weapon of violence, a weapon of love. When you pray the rosary for your family, you are placing your family inside the mysteries of the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. You are saying, take my family and run them through these mysteries. Show them the Annunciation. Show them that nothing is impossible with God. Show them the crucifixion. Show them that suffering is not the end. Show them the resurrection. Show them that death does not win. Our Lady takes that prayer and she intercedes. She is the mother of all families. She is the mother who never stops praying for her children. When you hand your family to her through the rosary, you are handing them to the most powerful intercessor in heaven. Think about this for a moment, beloved. When Jesus was dying on the cross, in the most excruciating hours of his suffering, in the moment when everything seemed to be ending, when his disciples had scattered and fear had won, he looked down from the wood, and he saw his mother. And he said, "Woman, behold your son." And to John, the beloved disciple, "Behold your mother." In that moment, Jesus gave Mary to every human family. He gave her to John, and John represents all of us, every disciple, every believer, every family that would ever exist. She is not a distant, cold figure. She is a mother who stood at the foot of a cross and did not run. She is a mother who has seen the worst pain the world can produce and refused to abandon her child. And when you come to her with your broken family, with your wayward child, with your crumbling marriage, she does not flinch. She has seen worse. She stood at the cross. She knows what love costs, and she will not leave your side. I want to tell you something about what I used to experience when I prayed the rosary. There were days when I didn't feel it, when the words seemed flat, when my mind wandered, when the mysteries felt distant rather than alive. And on those days, I prayed it anyway. I didn't stop because the feeling wasn't there, because I had learned something that I want to pass on to you now. The rosary does its work, whether you feel it or not. The feeling is a gift, but the prayer is bigger than the feeling. You show up, and you say the words, and you hold the beads, and Our Lady goes to work even when you feel nothing. Some of the greatest saints in history have described periods of prayer where they felt nothing: dryness, aridity, the sense of speaking into a void. Saint Thérèse of Lisieux, Saint John of the Cross, Mother Teresa, all of them wrote about periods of spiritual darkness where God felt absent. And all of them prayed anyway, because faith is not a feeling. Faith is a decision. It is the decision to believe that God is present even when presence is not felt. It is the decision to trust that prayer is being heard even when there is no immediate response. Pray the rosary for your family on the days when you feel it deeply and it brings you to tears, and pray it on the days when it feels like nothing. Both prayers count, both are received, both are held. I want to ask you something. Do you pray the rosary for your family? Have you ever started? If not, I want to invite you to start with 1 decade, just 1 decade, 10 Hail Marys, for someone in your family today. And if you have been praying it, if you have a testimony about what the rosary has done in your family, please leave it in the comments. Let your story be the courage someone else needs to begin. Leave us your favorite prayer for your family. Maybe a prayer that changed something, maybe a prayer that you are still waiting on. We want to read it, we want to pray with you. And subscribe to this channel, because we are building a community of prayer here, a real community. People who show up for each other's families through intercession, and you belong here. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single prayer posted here. This is your community. You are not praying alone. There is a quote that has been attributed to me that I want to address. People say I said, "Sadness is looking at ourselves. Happiness is looking toward God." I did say something like this, and I want you to understand what it means when you pray for your family, because it changes everything. When you sit in anxiety about your family, when you lie awake running the same fear through your mind like a loop, when you catastrophize about what might happen, when you feel the helpless weight of watching someone you love make choices that are destroying them, you are looking at yourself. You are sitting in the seat of control that was never yours to occupy. You are carrying a weight that was not designed for human shoulders. When you turn and look at God, not away from the problem, but through the problem, through the pain, through the fear, to the God who is holding your family even now, something shifts. Not immediately, not always dramatically, but something shifts. The anxiety loosens its grip just slightly. The fear stops feeling like a wall and starts feeling like a door. Because you are not alone in this. You were never alone in this. Look toward God when you pray for your family, not at your fear, not at the problem, not at the years of failure or the weight of what you wish you could undo. Look at God, and then bring your family with you in your gaze. Hold them up to the light. This brings me to the 5th and final word you must say when you pray for your family. This is the word that holds all the others together. This is the word that turns prayer from a practice into a posture, from something you do into something you are. Thanks. Lord, I thank you. Before the healing comes, before the reconciliation happens, before you see any evidence of change, Lord, I thank you for my family. I thank you for what you are doing even now that I cannot see. I thank you for the suffering that is teaching us. I thank you for the love between us that has survived so much. I thank you for the fact that you are God and I am not, and that this means my family's story is in better hands than mine. Gratitude is not denial. It is not pretending that everything is fine when it is not. Gratitude is the act of anchoring yourself in the reality that God is sovereign, that He is good, and that He is at work. It is the acknowledgement that even in the darkest chapter, He is the author, and He does not write stories without redemption. Let me tell you something about gratitude that I learned in the months before my diagnosis, not knowing what was coming, but somehow being prepared for it all the same. I had a habit. Every single morning before I turned on my computer, before I looked at anything else, I would sit for a moment and name 3 things I was grateful for. Not grand, sweeping things, just things. The light coming through my window, the dog asleep at the foot of my bed, the fact that today, again, I would receive Jesus in the Eucharist. Small things, real things. That habit did something to me over time. It trained my eyes to see gifts where other people saw ordinary moments. It trained my heart to hold the day with open hands rather than clenched fists. And so when the leukemia came, when the diagnosis landed like a stone in still water, and the ripples went out in every direction, I was not starting from scratch with gratitude. I had been practicing it for years. It was already in me like muscle memory. I want to invite you to build that muscle in your prayer life for your family. Not just, I thank you for my family in general, but specific gratitude. Lord, I thank you that my son called me today, even though we are not in a good place right now. I thank you that my daughter still lets me hug her. I thank you that my husband, even when he is distant, still comes home. I thank you for the moment at dinner when my family laughed together for the first time in weeks. Notice the grace in the small things, because in the small things, God is always moving. He is always dropping hints, leaving breadcrumbs, placing gentle moments of light in the darkest corridors of a struggling family. Gratitude is what gives you the eyes to see them. I was grateful at 15, in a hospital bed, dying. Not because dying was easy, but because I had so much. I had a family that loved me. I had Jesus in the Eucharist every day for 8 years. I had the friendship of Our Lady. I had work that meant something. My website, the Eucharistic miracles, the lives I had touched. I had more than enough to be grateful for. And so do you. Even in the middle of what your family is going through right now, there is something to be grateful for. Find it, offer it. Let it be the ground from which your intercession grows. The 5 words, Lord, mercy, come, heal, thanks. These are not magic. They are not a formula you say once and forget. They are an orientation. They are a posture of the heart. They are the language of someone who has decided to trust God completely with the people they love most in the world. Say them every day. Say them in the morning when you get up. Say them at night before you sleep. Say them in the middle of the day when the anxiety rises. Say them when you see your child's face, when you sit across the table from your spouse, when you call your mother or your father or your sibling. Lord, have mercy. Come, heal my family. I thank you. That is the whole prayer, 5 words, one heart, one God, infinite love. And beloved, I want you to know something about the nature of long-suffering prayer, the kind of prayer that does not quit when the answer does not come in a week or a month or a year. The Church has always taught that persistence in prayer is not a sign of doubt, it is a sign of faith. Jesus himself told the parable of the persistent widow who kept coming before the judge day after day until he granted her request. He told that parable specifically to teach us that we should pray and not give up. There is someone listening to this message right now who has been praying for the same family member for 15 years, maybe 20, maybe longer. Maybe you started praying for your prodigal child when they were a teenager, and they are now in their 30s and you are still praying. Maybe you have been praying for your spouse's return to faith since the early years of your marriage. Maybe you are praying for a parent who is aging and slipping away, and you are asking God to reach them before it is too late. Do not give up. Do not let the years convince you that your prayer has failed. I was in that hospital bed for 2 weeks before I died, and in those 2 weeks, God was doing something in my mother, in my father, in the people around me that I could not fully see. The transformation of their faith did not happen at my bedside, visibly, dramatically. It happened in them quietly after I was gone, in the months and years that followed. The fruit of prayer often comes after the planting, after the waiting, sometimes long after the one who planted has gone on ahead. Your prayers are seeds. You may not always see the harvest, but someone will. I intercede for you. Right now, in this moment, I place your family before the throne of God. I ask Mary, Our Lady, to wrap your family in her mantle. I ask St. Francis of Assisi, whose city I chose as my resting place because of my love for him, because I wanted to be close to the saint who had left everything for God, to walk with your family on the road they are on. You are not alone. Your family is not forgotten. God sees every tear you have cried over the people you love. He collects them. The Psalms say he puts your tears in his bottle, writes them in his book. Every prayer you have prayed for your children, your parents, your spouse, every desperate midnight prayer, every rosary, every mass, every simple Lord, please, it is all there. It is all held. Nothing is lost. Carry your family with faith, not with fear. With faith. There is a difference between carrying someone in fear, gripping, controlling, anxious, and carrying them in faith, holding them open-handed before God, trusting, releasing, believing. Faith is the open hand. Fear is the closed fist. Open your hands, give God your family, and watch what he does. And if this message has spoken to something real in your life today, If these words have touched a wound or lit a fire, or simply given you the courage to pray one more day for the person you have been praying for without seeing results, please leave your testimony in the comments. Tell us what God has done or what you believe He is doing. You do not have to use names. You do not have to share anything you want to keep private. Just say, "I'm praying for my family," or say more if you want. Your testimony is someone else's courage. Your story of faith is the flame that keeps another believer from giving up. And share this video with someone in your family who needs to hear it. Right now, think of one person, just one, and send it to them. You might be surprised what it opens in them. I want to close this message by praying over you. Not a prayer you repeat after me, but a prayer I speak over you, as your brother in Christ, as the one who is interceding for your family in heaven. Beloved friend, you who watched this entire video, you who carried the name of someone you love all the way to this moment, I see you. I see the faithfulness it takes to keep praying when you don't see results. I see the love that makes you wake up and pray for someone else before you even think of yourself. I see the grief that lives alongside your faith, the fear that sometimes shouts louder than your hope, the moments when you wonder if God is really listening. He is listening. He has been listening since the first prayer you ever prayed for the people you love. He is not confused by your family's situation. He is not overwhelmed by it. He is not running out of love for the person you are most worried about. He is not running out of time. He is God. He created time. He created your family. He placed those people in your life deliberately with purpose because He knows what He is doing, and He does it with love. Do not be afraid. Do not give up. Do not let the silence of unanswered prayer convince you that your prayer is unwanted. God's silence is not God's absence. Sometimes His silence is the sound of Him working in a way that requires quiet. Keep praying. Keep trusting. Keep the 5 words close. And know that from where I am, from the presence of the risen Christ, from the company of Our Lady and all the saints, I am praying with you, for your family, for the names you carry in your heart. Lord, mercy, come, heal, thanks. This is the prayer. This is the posture. This is the faith. God bless you, beloved. God bless your family. Now, because you stayed until the very end, I have something for you that I promised at the beginning, a teaching that very few people know. Something quietly extraordinary about the tradition of the Church and about my own devotion that deserves to be spoken out loud. Here it is. When I was alive, I used to stop by Catholic churches simply to visit Jesus in the tabernacle. Not for a formal mass, not for a scheduled prayer service, just to stop, to go in, to kneel, and to be with Him for a few minutes. I did this often, sometimes multiple times a day on my way to school, on my way home, whenever I passed a church whose doors were open. This practice has a name in the Catholic tradition that has been almost forgotten in modern times. It is called a tabernacle visit, or more formally a visita al Santissimo Sacramento, a visit to the Most Blessed Sacrament. And here is what most people do not know. This simple, humble, unscheduled act of walking into a Catholic church to be with Jesus in the tabernacle was once considered one of the most powerful forms of devotion in the Church, ranked by spiritual directors alongside the Rosary and the Liturgy of the Hours as a transformative daily practice. In the 17th century, St. Alphonsus Liguori, one of the Church's doctors, wrote an entire book about it, called Visits to the Most Blessed Sacrament. He said that a person who makes a daily visit to the tabernacle will find their prayer life transformed, their love for God deepened, and their capacity for sacrifice for others quietly but dramatically enlarged. I did not know about St. Alphonsus's book when I was alive. I just knew that I wanted to be near Jesus. And every time I stepped into a church and knelt before the tabernacle, I felt something I cannot fully describe, a warmth, a recognition, a sense of being completely known and completely loved without having to say a single word. That is available to you, right now, today. If you live near a Catholic church, walk in. Not on Sunday for a duty. Just walk in on a Tuesday afternoon and kneel for 5 minutes before the tabernacle. Bring your family with you in your heart. Bring the 5 words. Bring your grief and your hope and your love. And just be there. This is the secret of the saints, not complicated theology, not heroic sacrifice, just presence, Just showing up before God with whatever you have, and to honor this teaching, to seal it in your heart and in ours. I want to invite everyone who stayed until the end of this message to leave one word in the comments: tabernacle. That one word typed in the comments below will let us know that you received this hidden treasure of the Catholic tradition, and it will become a roll call of the faithful, of every person who decided that their family was worth praying for all the way to the end. Write it, be counted, and know that I am praying for you and for the family you carry in your heart. Lord, mercy, come, heal. Thanks. God bless you, beloved. Truly, God bless you. If this prayer strengthened your faith today, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and activate the notification bell so you never miss a new message. And share it. One share from you could be the answer to someone else's prayer today.